don't come by here often, you know." "I know God can make many miracles," I said. I was tired of having to convince Mr. Maccabee that if he believed hard enough, he would see. He was so old, you'd think he would know these things by now. But no, I always had to tell him. "Have you seen Fats around here?" I asked. "Why you all keep calling that boy such a horrible name? What if people started calling me blind old Mr. Maccabee? Would that be nice?" I wanted to tell him that everyone did call him blind old Mr. Maccabee when they were talking about him, but I didn't want to make him mad because then Mr. Maccabee would raise that cane of his and bring it down every which way about, and you'd have to duck just in case it hit you. "He was just here, not 10 minutes afore you, looking twice as muddy." Fats was my second best friend, after Cammy. Everyone called him Fats, even his ma. Every single part of his body was round, from his full, soft, bulging lips to his pudgy, rolling belly. Fats was the color of sandpaper, but when you looked carefully, that color seemed to depend on which part of his body you were looking at. His face was like butterscotch, all smooth and warm, but his belly, hanging out over swim trunks, was pale and pasty, like the underbelly of an octopus, while his arms and legs were a chocolate brown. Mr. Maccabee reached and took my thumb out of my mouth and put his hand in mine. I could feel the calluses and lumps and bumps under the hardness of his palm. I could never figure out how he knew the minute my thumb was in my mouth. He had long grown tired of telling me that I was too old for that, and I'd get rabbit teeth. "You all right, baby girl?" he asked me. "Things all right at home?" I nodded. "Leroy still away?" I hesitated, not wanting to say anything because maybe Mr. Maccabee had that second sight that made him sense things no one else did. But in those seconds I waited, Mr. Maccabee's voice was back again, sharper. He was now leaning forward, looking through me, trying to see deep into my soul again. I kept it out of his reach, buried it way, way down. "Is he back?" "No, he's still away." I managed to keep the wobble out of my voice. "That man's been away almost 9 months this time." Mr. Maccabee seemed to be talking to himself again. He leaned back in his chair. "Leroy, my stepfather, was Ma's husband and the father of my sister and brothers. I knew he hated me, couldn't stand to look at me. I wanted Mr. Maccabee to go right on talking about something else and not try to look into my soul, so I said quickly, "You going to be all right?" "Yes, don't you worry that pretty head of yours over me. Just hand me a clean shirt." I went to get Mr. Maccabee a clean shirt and came back with his favorite gray shirt with the white collar. "Want me to fix you a sandwich before I go?" "That would be real nice. There's a piece of bacon in the fridge and some bread on the counter. Make sure you wash those grubby hands first." I fried up the bacon and made the sandwich. "Now, what's your new word for the day?" he asked. "Preposterous." My, that's a handful for a little girl. You know what it means?" "Yes," I said, rolling my eyes to give him some sass. "It means ridiculous, absurd, foolish, inane." Mr. Maccabee could hear the sass right in my voice, but he only shook his head and said, "You keep it up here now." He stretched out his hand, and when I grasped it, he pulled me close to him for a quick hug. I ran down the street, past the tiny, mostly rented clapboard houses that made up my neighborhood in the black part of town, past the big old sign where, if you squinted, you could just make enough sense of the peeling red paint to read, "Town of Ricksville, MS, population 8,014."